This is Comics Are Awesome, and I'm your host, Mark Boker from Alter Ego Comics in Lima, Ohio. Today I'm going to be talking about the comics that I enjoyed the most this week, and there is a hefty stack of books to talk about. First up is my pick of the week. It's Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man #1 by Tom Taylor and Juan Cabal. You may be asking yourself, do we need another Spider-Man book? And this isn't just another Spider-Man book. So my answer is yes. We need a Spider-Man book by this creative team of Tom Taylor and Juan Cabal. They previously worked together on All New Wolverine, and Tom Taylor has written the Injustice Gods Among Us comics at DC Comics, which is one of the best books that DC has published in recent years. So Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is a much more street-level, personal, heartfelt, intimate look at Peter Parker's life. Amazing Spider-Man is for the big, giant Marvel Universe stories. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is for those smaller moments. You get to meet Peter's neighbors in the apartment building that he lives in. And I should mention that there are two stories in this one. There is the main intro story, and then there is a backup story, which is must reading and is definitely going to rock Peter Parker's world. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man gets a thumbs up from me. Also got a thumbs up from Alex here on the team as well. Staying in the world of Spider-Man, we'll talk about Miles Morales Spider-Man #2. This is by Saladin Ahmed. And who else we have here? Javier Garron. So this has been excellent from the beginning. Miles Morales, especially after Into the Spider-Verse hit movie theaters and after winning the Golden Globe for Best Animated Feature Film just this past week, is so deserving of his own book and has, I'm sure, developed a loyal fan base of new fans to go with those of us that have liked the character for the last several years. Miles is trying to balance life at private school, his circle of friends, very few people that know that he's actually Spider-Man, and now he is searching for the cousin of this girl that he would like to be he would like to be the boyfriend of at school, and there are kids that are going missing, including the niece of the Rhino. And so this is a team-up issue between the Rhino and Miles, and it is excellent. The Rhino is a very sympathetic character these days. If you followed the character through Dan Slott's Spider-Man run, he's had a string of horrendous luck. And just when you thought he was going to be happy, he's almost like Peter Parker in a way. You know, he has the Rhino luck instead of the Parker luck. So Miles and the Rhino team up in this issue to try and find out what's going on with the missing kids, and there are several moments in this series that just make your jaw drop, or in this issue that should make your jaw drop. So if you're not reading Miles Morales Spider-Man, I highly recommend it. We're only 2 issues in. Both issues have been gangbusters, and you should totally check it out. Avengers #12 is must-reading, in my opinion, written by Jason Aaron, artwork by Ed McGuinness and Corey Smith. This was just a lot of fun, and I can't believe what Jason Aaron has done in this issue. Basically, now that the Avengers are living in the body of a Celestial, they need a bigger support staff. So Jarvis isn't going to cut it. Jarvis is featured in the book, but he's like, man, I'm not moving away from New York City, and my knees can't handle all the walking around in this place. So T'Challa, Black Panther, who is the Avengers chairman, decides that he's going to put together a team of support staff, and this team is phenomenal. I don't want to spoil some of the stuff in here because with every page turn, when they reveal a new member of the support team, I just kind of chuckled and went, I can't believe that they're doing this. There's a part of me, the cynic in me, thinks that Marvel is just trying to retain their intellectual property, and there's some copyrights that may be running out, that they felt like, you know what, we need to bring these folks back, and they're going to make great agents of the Avengers. Now that S.H.I.E.L.D. is no more, we now have agents of the Avengers. But it is so much fun. I love this support team almost as much as I love the Avengers. So Avengers has been great from the get-go since Aaron took over. And I will say I was not a huge fan of the initial story arc with the Celestials because I just don't care about the Celestials. But ever since then, I've stuck with it, and I'm glad that I did. And issue #12 is no exception. It is so, so fun. the opposite side of so fun is so weird and confusing, and what the heck did I just read? That is Batman number 62, written by Tom King with artwork by Mitch Gerads. So this is the team behind Mr. Miracle, which was a huge critical and commercial success last year. So at the end of the last issue, Bruce Wayne, Batman, is knocked unconscious by Thomas Wayne, the Dark Batman. I don't remember if he has a name, but from the Flashpoint universe. And that ended on a cliffhanger. Well, this doesn't pick up where that cliffhanger left off, but I can't say a lot about this without giving the story away, but I had to get an assist from the internet to kind of figure out what exactly went down in this issue. I will say that Gerard's artwork is jaw-droppingly awesome. There's a lot of blood in this issue because you have Professor Pig, who is just a psychopath and one of the scariest, freakiest Batman villains in years. So there's definitely a lot of blood, and it could have just looked sloppy and bled together, no pun intended, but Gerads does a great job, and that was really the selling point as I read through this for me to keep reading, because I will tell you, it is very out there. But I think Batman fans are going to enjoy it, and when you analyze it, it will make sense. So don't be put off by negative reviews or people that might not really get what's going on. But when you think about what Bruce Wayne has gone through in the last year, it makes a lot more sense. So I did enjoy this week's issue of Batman, even though it left me scratching my head and feeling like an idiot despite having read comics for over 30 years. Let's stay with DC. We'll go with Young Justice #1. Written by Brian Michael Bendis, artwork by Patrick Gleason, and this is something that fans have been asking for years, the return of Young Justice. Bendis has said this is in continuity, that you don't have to have read any previous Young Justice stuff to be able to jump into this, but you should because it's great. So the Young Justice team is essentially Tim Drake, aka Robin, Cassie, aka Wonder Girl, Bart Allen, Impulse. We get Ginny Hex, which is one of our focal point characters in here, somehow related to Jonah Hex, presumably. And I don't want to spoil it, but he's on the cover, so it's not really spoiling it. But Connor Kent is back as Superboy, and it's the end of the book, so it's kind of on a cliffhanger. There's no explanation of how Connor is back and where he's been and why he's dressed like Superboy circa 1993, but I'm sure we will get to that. Also, we have a new Green Lantern, Teen Lantern, which I'm not really sure what's going to happen with her, and Amethyst. In fact, the bad guys in here are from Gem World. So Bendis does a great job of introducing the new characters in this one while also getting to play with old characters that many people love, and the timing is great now that Young Justice is on the DC Universe streaming app, the new season of Young Justice. So you get your animated TV version, you also get a new comic book for Young Justice. Young Justice fans should be doing backflips, but it was excellent. Captain Marvel #1 was a contender for my pick of the week. This is written by Kelly Thompson, artwork by Carmen Carnero. I tweeted out after I read it that I've always enjoyed the character of Carol Danvers. I've liked her as an Avenger. I liked her as Binary, showing up in the X-Men from time to time, and when she hung out with the Starjammers. But the solo books for Captain Marvel never clicked with me until now. And this is the one, and I shouldn't be surprised because everything that Kelly Thompson writes, I enjoy. She gets me. She doesn't know me, but she gets me. She writes what I want to read. She has a style of writing that is easily digestible and pays tribute to the past while moving forward. Her sense of humor is outstanding, and that's why books like West Coast Avengers and Mr. and Mrs. X are doing very well with fans. Captain Marvel #1 does that as well. So she's back after the miniseries, The Life of Captain Marvel, which has some revelations in it. If you didn't read it, there's a nice recap on the first page letting you know where Carol is mentally, and also what she's doing back on Earth, because previously she was hanging out with Alpha Flight in space. So she does a great job of summing up where things were, and I was very pleased to see that right out of the gate, Carol is hanging out with Jessica Drew, aka Spider-Woman. They are best friends, and they get to fight a giant sea monster in the first few issues. There's also great interaction between Tony Stark and Carol, and I was really pleased to see that there's a character from Avengers Academy who shows up and is hopefully going to be mentored by Carol. Also, we get kind of the rekindling of the romance between James Rhodes, aka Rhodey, aka War Machine, and Carol Danvers. So, and that's kind of an awkward thing because he was dead. Thanos kind of punched him through the chest, but he came back to life thanks to Tony Stark. And if you're interested in that, go seek out some recent / somewhat recent issues of Iron Man to find out how Rhodey is back. So lots of action. The artwork is outstanding, and to me, that's been one of the downsides of not downsides, but one of the reasons why I didn't dig the previous Captain Marvel series is that the art just didn't work for me. This time, the art is fantastic. You do get a cover by Amanda Conner, which is kind of, I don't want to say created controversy, but some people are not crazy about Conner's style, and it doesn't necessarily work well with Carol Danvers. I don't know if I agree with that, but Carnero, excuse me, her art is top notch, and here this is a fantastic comic book. If you have not read Captain Marvel before and you want to get on board the Captain Marvel train that's going to be arriving soon with the movie opening in March, you can't do much better than jumping into Captain Marvel #1 by Kelly Thompson and Carmen Carnero. Finally, there is an independent book in the stack this week, and that is Criminal #1 by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. They've been doing Criminal for a long time. I want to say 15 years. It might be a little less than that, maybe 12 years. And now they're back with a monthly Criminal series. So this is going to bounce all over the world of Criminal, and you don't have to know anything about it to get into it. If you like crime comics, if you like crime stories, let me rephrase that, because I think it's very important for non-comic readers to understand that there is a comic for you. If you like crime TV shows, if you like crime novels, or crime movies, Criminal is the book for you. And Brubaker and Phillips are really at the top of their game. And when you think of crime comics, to me, there is no other pair in comics that I think of before these folks. So this focuses on Teague Lawless, who is essentially the main character in the Criminal universe. But the nice thing about Criminal is that the stories happen at different times in different places involving different characters, and they're not chronological. So this story, you learn everything you need to know in the first few pages, and it's sad, it's intriguing, it's action-packed. Brubaker writes dialogue that is so fantastic for these scum of the earth characters that you somehow still end up feeling for. So I would say pick up Criminal if you've read any Brubaker Phillips, and that includes Kill or Be Killed. That includes My Heroes Have Always Been Junkies, which is also set within the Criminal universe. Surprise. And I don't think that you will be disappointed at all. It's excellent, really. Trust me. So that is it for this week. I read a bunch of books. Those are ones that I really liked. And I do want to reiterate, there are lots of review shows out there, and I made a conscious decision when I started doing Alter Ego Comics TV / Comics Are Awesome that we would only talk about books that we liked. There's enough negativity in the world. There was enough negativity in the world when we started like 10 years ago, and I think there's more negativity in the world now. So we don't need to talk about what we don't like. Let's talk about what we do like. And I liked all these books. So I want to hear what you liked as well. You can leave comments if you're watching this via YouTube. If you're listening to this podcast, you can review us. You can't really leave a comment, but I appreciate you listening. And as always, I ask you to like, comment, and share wherever you're consuming this content. So I hope that helps. I hope that I gave you some good suggestions, and I hope you'll take a chance on some of these new series because they're definitely worth it. Thanks for watching and listening, and I'll see you again real soon.